Hello you fantastic people and welcome back to Borderlands 3. In today's video I'm going to have my full build that I use for my whole 50 kill series of killing all the bosses in Borderlands 3 on True Vault Hunter mode, Mayhem 4, and we absolutely shredded them by the end. We worked out the best build for Flak that has the highest crit damage, the highest just regular damage, getting your Fadeaway back as quickly as possible while also having like ammo regen, all that fun stuff that you need for Flak's builds. Absolutely shreds every boss in this game. It is primarily for boss fights, but you could make a few adjustments to make it a pretty decent mobbing build as well. It is just primarily set up for bosses right now because I haven't been mobbing in like a month. It's also just a great variety build. You can use a whole bunch of different weapons. It is originally centered around 2 weapons, but you can use assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, you can use sniper rifles, you can use pretty much everything in this game, and it will have bonus amp damage because crit damage and just regular damage just amps everything. So everything is super powerful if you're using this Flak build. Now just before we go through the skill tree in order and show you all the different reasonings behind picking all of them, putting a certain amount of points, etc., we're going to go through the weapons and class mods that we usually use for most of the boss fights that work for pretty much literally everyone. Now they're not absolutely necessary for the skill tree to absolutely dominate in this game. You don't have to have crazy anointments or any glitches or anything stupid like that. It's not one of those videos. If you guys just want a good all-round Flak build, this thing dominates, and it doesn't matter if you're fantastic at the game, if you're new to the game, anything like that. If you have 1,000 hours to put into getting crazy anointments, or if you just want to play and you have a few legendaries, this thing will work for everyone. Now like I said, you can absolutely shred all the bosses in this game using a whole variety of weapons using the skill tree build, but if you're like me and want to get the absolute maximum crit damage and maximum damage and just like the fastest farm times you possibly can get, because I've killed all these bosses in this game like 50 plus times at least, so I had to get the fastest times because I was just taking way too long. So this build was originally centered around these 2 weapons, the bang stick, Torg purple shotgun, absolutely amazing weapon, plus the Unforgiven pistol. If you guys haven't heard about that, I'll explain it briefly, but I have made a weapon guide on both these weapons, so if I miss anything or if you just want more information, both these weapons will be linked at the end screen title card thing. You can check it out at the end there if you'd like. Just ignore the anointments I have on both of these, they're not necessary, but this gun is absolutely amazing. It's a purple rarity gun, also comes in blue and green, but of course the purple one is better. If you're looking for them, they're pretty rare, unfortunately. There are 3 different ways to get it. It's just world drop. There is also comes in the Marcus or the Crazy Earl's vending machines. You can get them from there. You can farm those if you want. I personally have had 0 luck getting them from there, but you can also get them from Gun. If you have a bunch of iridium you want to spare, you can use that as well. It does drop them, I'd say, fairly often, a lot faster than it would world drop wise for me at least, but check it out for yourself, see how fast you can get them. But essentially the best thing about this weapon is it has a sticky bullets firing mode. So you click down the D-pad or whatever it is on PC and you go into Fadeaway, absolutely unload into a enemy while the entirety of Fadeaway is on, and then just as they're exploding you switch to the Unforgiven. And if you haven't heard about the Unforgiven, the best thing about it is the 432% crit hit damage multiplier, which is absolutely crazy disgusting. It comes between 340 and 432 crit damage multiplier. Can sort of vary between any of those, but essentially any of them are amazing. This one is just the absolute maxed out one, and essentially while those bullets are exploding and you've just come out of Fadeaway, all those bullets are doing an extra 432% crit hit damage, which is absolutely disgusting. Now it's super hard to recommend a class mod for you guys because I used like 5 in rotation depending on what weapons I'm using. Primarily I would say if I'm using my bang stick I would use this class mod, mostly because it has the shotgun damage increase, plus it has 4 times added bonus skill tree to the 2 Fang perk, which I'll explain later. Alternatively, you can use the bounty hunter one that also has a great effect. That Flak has a 3% chance to activate any purchase hunt skill when dealing gun damage, which you're doing all the damn time. Bosses are now treated as humans, beasts, and robotics for Flak's hunt skill tree, which I'll explain again later. And then if you want a third option, and if you have DLC 1, the new class mod is also amazing for that. It was bugged, but I think it's now fixed. Something about the pet breaking in the system, but essentially consecutive hits increase your crit hit damage and they reset after a while. But that is absolutely clutch as well. If you want to use that and it's not bugged, then that will work really well. All 3 are fantastic. It's essentially just up to what weapons you're using and what modifiers it has at the bottom. For example, the one on the right has Jacob's weapon critical damage plus assault rifle damage, which would work really well for a Rowan's Call. Absolutely shreds pretty much all the enemies. Now let's try and tackle the whole skill tree and all the different parts to it. There are a whole bunch of things that I changed like 10 different times over this series. I'm pretty sure I arrived at the best crit hit, high damage, and getting your Fadeaway back as quick as possible variants. I tried to do the actual math on what's better, the crit damage or the damage itself. I'm pretty sure I worked it out. But if you guys are absolute veterans at Borderlands, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below if you have any suggestions or anything like that, because I'd love to improve this build in any way I possibly can. Now, the first one is obviously Fadeaway. If you guys don't know what Fadeaway is, then you probably never played Flak before, so I'm just going to skip that one. The first real one is Furious Attack. I put 5 into this straight away to get to the next level. Hunter skill: after shooting an enemy, Flak gains a stack of Furious Attack. For each stack of Furious Attack, Flak handling and gun damage is increased, which is amazing. You just want to pretty much go into anything that has higher damage. And if you're not shooting something in Borderlands 3, then why are you playing Borderlands 3? But the bonus you'll be getting is 2% gun damage per stack. You get 10 stacks and they will last 4 seconds. So every 4 seconds you should be able to keep up around about 20% extra gun damage all the time. In the second one, we go with Flak gains increased fire rate. Flak gains increased fire rate after reloading. The fire rate after reloading is 10% increase, or fire rate just generally is 10%. Overclock duration is 4 seconds. And fire rate just means increased damage over time, so that's perfect. Plus, if you're reloading a bang stick semi-regular, you're trying to avoid it as much as possible, but you do have to reload every once in a while, which just means you're getting a higher fire rate after that, which is just maximizing damage in the shortest amount of time. Now, this one heavily depends on your play style and what bosses you're using, whether or not you have to be running around all the time, or if you can stand still and do as much damage as possible. So while moving, Flak constantly regenerates health and damage reduction. So while you're trying to dodge out the way, you're getting that damage reduction. You won't be taking as much damage and you won't be downing as much. But if you can stand still, you're doing an extra 25% gun damage, which is filthy. Which, if you're in Fadeaway, where no one should be able to see you, doesn't happen all the time, but if no one can see you, you can stand still and do that extra 25% gun damage while just absolutely unloading your Fadeaway into them. Now, this one is totally up to your preference. I didn't see much point in putting it anywhere else. I personally keep my pet around just to try and revive me in the 1 in 10 chance that he doesn't die while doing it, or the chance that he keeps me alive long enough for me to get a kill revive in Mayhem 4. The pet's entirely useless for anything else in Mayhem 4. They die all the time, they do absolutely no damage, but if they can get that revive like 1 in 10 times, it is worth the extra skill point to me to save me that time from having to reload the game and having to kill the boss again. So that's worth for me. If you can find anywhere else to put it that you want to increase your damage or anything like that, feel free to do that instead. And now to get you to the next level of the skill tree is Flak's self-repairing system. It's essentially increasing his max health, and they constantly regenerate health. It's not necessary for high damage builds, but it's the best option out of the 4 here. Like, this one's just for mobbing. This one is just sharing health between friends and pets. No one cares about pets, and I play solo, so that doesn't affect me. And this one's just the attack command, which for Flak's pets I personally never use, so I just stuck with this one and gives me a bit of extra regen health and maximum health, which why not? Now that we're getting to the bottom of the skill tree, you're getting the best damage multipliers you can get out of Flak skill trees. This one, Hidden Machine, is fantastic. Essentially, while an enemy has no target or is attacking a different target, aka while you're in Fadeaway, Flak deals increased gun damage against them. If you put all 5 points into it, you get 30% extra gun damage, which is dope. And then you want to put 3 skill points into the Fast and the Furious, which is just a great name for the record. While above half health, Flak's gun damage and movement speed are increased, and that pet damage is increased, which no one cares about, but the gun damage is 25% damage and the movement speed is 10%. Movement speed is a bit but the 25% gun damage is definitely vital. I feel like it works really well with this one. If you just jump into a boss fight arena, you go into Fadeaway, they can't see you, so you're doing that extra gun damage with this one. You're above half health, so you're doing the extra damage with the Fast and the Furious. Plus, if you're standing still, you're getting that extra gun damage, so you're doing absolutely crazy amount of damage multipliers if you can do all 3 of those at the same time. And then if you used all the points like I have in this skill tree, you'll make it to the end, which is the power inside, which is Flak, and Flak's pet has gained increased damage while Flak activates action skill, aka Fadeaway, which is 25% damage, and the power inside duration is 15%, which is amazing. Almost forgot to mention, I feel like it's a definite given if you're using Flak's Fadeaway that you definitely use Gorillas in the Mist, and as well as the Unblinking Eye. Successive hits on the same target increase Flak's critical hit damage per hit. Unblinking Eye resets every 3 seconds, and that is 75% per hit for crit damage, which is absolutely filthy, especially if you're using a bang stick that has 18 pellets. Every 3 of those pellets is doing an extra 75% critical hit damage. Now, I've only ever put 3 points into the blue skill tree, and it is definitely this one, and it's definitely worth doing though, because it has increased Flak gun damage again, but Flak's action skill duration feels super slow unless you put all 3 points into this. You get an extra 45% time in Flak's Fadeaway if you put 3 points into this. This one here I've actually never paid any attention to whatsoever because it's pet related. The only reason I have a point into it is because of my class mod has just an extra point in it. But now for the orange tree, the hunter skill tree for flak, and this is where you mostly customize your build for what particular weapons you use, and you can really amplify your damage dependent on which ones you use the most. For example, leave no traces, absolutely essential if you're using the bang stick method, because whenever flak scores a critical hit, there's a chance for 1 ammo to be added back to their magazine, not their ammo count but their magazine, so you don't have to reload. And that's a 36% chance with 3 skill points in it. You can get some class mods that amplify that even more. I've seen one that has an extra 3, so that would be what, 60-72% increase, which is amazing. But if you have a high pellet count bang stick, all 18 of those pellets have a 36% chance, so you never have to reload as long as you're hitting somebody with a bang stick in Fadeaway, because you're always hitting those criticals, and you never have to reload as long as you keep hitting them. But you don't have to use a shotgun for that to be like a necessary or like a really helpful skill point to bother spending. For example, like pistols, anything like that, anything you can keep hitting criticals with and you don't want to have to reload all the time. So pistols with a small magazine size, keep adding that ammo back to your magazine helps so much. The interplanetary stalker, that's if I pronounced that correctly, I usually only put about 2 points into this, and it's honestly just to get it to the next level, because you could either go killing an enemy gains increased reload speed, and bonus increase if flak scores a critical hit, but this is not for mobbing, so I just go for this one. It increases damage for stacks. Killing an enemy, again, it's mobbing, but I know it's better to get increased damage for the few things you might kill on this side of the boss fight rather than reload speed, which doesn't really help me that much. And next, I usually put 2 points in Interplanetary Stalker, if I pronounce that correctly. It's a mobbing skill, but essentially it's just to get me to the next level. You can also do this one if you prefer to have increased reload time. It's essentially just kills grant these bonuses, so it's essentially just for mobbing. But if you kill a few things on the side of the boss fight, this one grants extra damage, which I think is more important than the reload speed, in my opinion at least. Now once you get to the next level, this one is definitely crucial as well for this build. The head count means whenever flak scores a critical hit, there's a chance their action skill cooldown will be reduced, which is definitely well worth it. If you get all of the shots into a critical hit spot with a bang stick and they all explode, all of those individual pellets are adding to the cooldown rate. So if you get like, I don't know, 3 or 4 shots in a critical hit spot, let them all explode and the enemy doesn't die, pretty much 100% of the time your cooldown rate will be absolutely gone and you'll just have your action skill back straight away. So if you want your Fadeaway like all the time, that is definitely the skill you want. This one is good. I feel like you could definitely put some more points into this depending on how you play the game and what class mods you're using particularly. Essentially, flak gains bonuses whenever fighting different types of enemies, critical hit damage, armor damage, damage reduction, etc. And it's for humans, robots, beasts. But class mods, there's one in particular that treats all bosses as humans, robots, and beasts regardless of what type they are. So you're getting all those bonuses if you have the particular class mod. So if you use that one regularly, you can definitely put more points into this if you prefer. Now this one I particularly love and I use it all the time. I found a class mod that has an extra 4 points into it and it works so damn well. It particularly works better with things like assault rifles. I use it for my shotgun one just because that particular class mod that comes with +4 has increased shotgun damage, so that's why I use it. I know it's not particularly as useful for a bang stick with a high pellet count because you're only adding like an extra 1 projectile would make it a 19 pellet count, which isn't that much extra damage because those pellets are only doing about 400 damage. Whereas if you had a shotgun that only had like 2 pellets, but both the shots themselves do 4,000 damage, 1 extra pellet is doing a lot more damage. So these things work a lot better with, say, like a Lucian's Call. This works really, really well with any assault rifles, anything that has a low pellet count or just 1 projectile. The extra projectile is doing so much extra damage. But regardless, Two Fang is just a great perk. Definitely spec into this as much as you can. And then the final one is Flak's hunter skills become more effective and have a longer duration, which is just great. Essentially just turns all of these into better than what they already were. And I put all 3 points into this, so hunter skill duration is 100% increase and skill effects are 30% increase, and that is definitely worth it to me. But yeah, that is my entire skill tree laid out and explained for you guys. I had a few comments requesting it, so I thought I'd make this video for you guys. If you found it helpful at all, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could smash subscribe down below, hit that little bell so you get notified whenever I post a video. Like and share the video will help the channel grow even more. I really appreciate all the support on all the Borderlands 3 videos. You guys are absolute legends. Apologies if this video was super long. I've been recording for like 50 minutes, but there's like a lot of info I wanted to shove into this video, so I'll try and cut it down as much as possible, but I assume it's going to be a long one. But yeah, that is everything I have for Flak's build. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, I'd love to hear them in the comment section down below. If you have any different weapons or added skill tree bonuses, anything like that, cool class mods you found, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to perfect this build and make make it even better, because I'm sure you guys will have a bunch of suggestions to make it even better. And if you guys would like some more suggestions, feel free to go in the comment section down below and check out what other people are suggesting. If you guys would like, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, and I can make more videos like this for different characters, etc. It'll take a while to make them for different characters because I've only had experience with Flak and Mo so far. I'm about to start Amara this week, but once I've made all of them, I can make a boss fighting and a mobbing build for all of them if you guys are interested in stuff like that. And yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be out tomorrow. And until then, have a fantastic day and adios. Bro, it is so hot in Australia. What is this weather?